It's kind of getting like into iffy territory.
In what territory?
Into iffy territory because we share a sugar daddy now. My sugar daddy fell in love with her.
She what?
My sugar daddy fell in love with her. So now we share him.
I thought I saw you late last night in Brooklyn, Brooklyn,
Okay, shall we?
Oh wait, question.
What?
Is it like uncouth to use these straws? Or are they just for stirring? I don't want to look like an idiot.
Oh, I didn't even think about that because I never get cocktails. I mean, I think you have to use a straw.
Yeah.
You're not gonna just like drink it like a cup of orange juice.
Okay, I'm gonna just use it.
I don't see any other straws.
Okay.
But it looks good to me. All right, cheers to not. We haven't had a drink in like a month, so
I know.
maybe longer. I don't remember.
Every week we're like, when are we getting drunk again? That's all I want to know when I start my week.
Like after tonight, you mean?
No, like every week we're like
every
okay,
week, when are we
getting drinks?
I know, the problem is that I don't come into the office like ever.
It is a problem. I'm like always alone in the office.
I just don't want to.
I'm like always on TikTok. It's bad.
Well, Domi and I have a bar that we want to take you and Caroline to in Greenpoint, nearby. So, Brooklyn adventure. We'll have to come to Brooklyn again.
How was your reading?
It was really good, yeah. It was like a lot of work. It went really well. It was just a lot of work to like get people to come. I don't know if you felt like the same way about yours, but anytime I do something like that, I feel like the amount of effort that I have to put into like reaching out to people and following up with people to make sure that they actually come is exhausting. And all you want to do is like do the creative stuff.
That is hard. And it's also like when it comes to a reading, I don't know how to convince people to go to a reading. It's, you know, there's not a ton of movement. I often think that the text, you know, stands for itself and could be read like in the comfort of my own home. Like when I go to a reading, especially one that only took a few hours of preparation, I'm like, I could have just read this. You know, the actors they haven't had enough time to really like bring anything interesting to it. So everybody has bad associations with readings. I invited all these people that weren't theater people, just like trying to fill seats, and they showed up like so excited to see a play. And I was like, oh my God, like you don't fucking know what a reading is.
How
like,
do you know so many non-theater
sorry.
people? Like where do you even find them?
I don't even know. I just can't handle theater people. Like I am in the wrong ass industry, so our crowd was mostly non-theater. Yeah.
I used to have more friends that were not theater people, but now they're all either theater people or musicians.
Oh wow.
I don't like know a lot of normal people. Normal few.
Yeah, no. But it went really well. Caroline was like truly incredible. It was her and this other girl, the girl that I was telling you about, the one who like canceled me. The girl who like got
Wait,
really mad
what happened with her? Wait, I totally forgot about her. What happened with her?
She got really mad at me. Oh, we're still
Again?
hanging out, yeah. Yeah.
Like anything ever like
Not yet. We keep like having like little like, we're always like hanging out in each other's beds. She's always, yeah.
she still get like mad like about everything?
No, she let that go, but it's kind of getting like into iffy territory.
In what territory?
Into iffy territory because we share a sugar daddy now. My sugar daddy fell in love with her.
She what?
My sugar daddy fell in love with her. So now we share him.
How did that even happen? how did he like meet her? Also, do you go in person or is it all like video?
I do it in person. I've done video stuff, but it's just less money. One time, like, there was this guy, this Serbian guy, who paid me like $100 to like eat breakfast while he ate dinner or something, and we would just talk about his life. And he had the worst life. Like, I was like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, your life is really bad. Like, I was like, and he would be like, how's your life? And I was like, can't complain. Like, you know, it's not like your life. And he was going through this messy divorce, like every aspect. So then it was literally just too depressing. I was like, this isn't even worth $100. Like, his life is making me sad.
I feel like you should charge more. That seems like...
Right? I was like, I was not equipped for that. But yeah, no, so
You're not his therapist.
I know! That's what he was. I was like, you should spend this elsewhere, you know? Maybe a professional. But yeah, anyways. So we've just gotten into iffy territory. She met him. She was interested in like doing that type of dating. And I was like, why don't you come hang out with me and my sugar daddy? And we did that. We went to dinner after he took me to Strange Loop.
To what?
Strange Loop.
Oh,
yeah,
so
on
good.
Broadway. We went to dinner and like he just was really quiet the whole time. And I was like, oh my God, he hates her, like all this stuff. And then he like looks at her and he's like, I have to tell you, I'm extremely attracted to you. And I was like, I'm right here. So we just started laughing and he just looks at me and he goes like, I'm attracted to your brain. I was like, just call me ugly. Like,
That's
so yeah.
not the time for that compliment.
Right? And so then, like, they started doing their own thing, but then they got into a really explosive fight. And, like, they were both really mad at each other, a little bit mad at me because I was in a tough position. I was like, girl, you are my friend, but I gotta protect my bag.
What did they fight about? He didn't do anything.
She was just like, oh my God, he's an idiot. Just like, he promised her some money and then he was like, oh, that was too much money. And so then he wanted her to come like do gardening work on one of his Jersey Shore houses to justify like giving her that amount of money. And she was like, I'm not your fucking gardener. But anyways, like, and so they're not, and we were supposed to go on a cruise. And now I have to go on this cruise by myself. I think I'm gonna fake
The three of
COVID.
you were supposed to go on a cruise?
Just like an evening cruise.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah. Not like a
okay,
cruise.
okay. I mean, but you're used to hanging out with him by yourself, right?
Oh yeah. And he's like literally 76. Like, you know,
God.
I'm like, man's just gonna kick the bucket at any moment, you know. He's not a
in that
threat. Yeah. So I could overpower him in an instant. So we're good. But yeah, so anyway, so Caroline and Jordan were scene partners. The play has like, you know, kind of you're tracking like 3 different stories. And Caroline and Jordan, like anytime it was their story, the audience physically leaned in. It was really incredible. Like they were like the stars of the show. Caroline, they had this like anti-chemistry, like the tension on like 2 exact like opposite poles, that like even just their silence was so loaded and so comedic. They had incredible comedic timing. Everybody was like holding laughs like inside of themselves, and then they would just like one look and it would just come out. They were amazing. So
I'm
yeah.
so mad that I didn't get to see it.
I know, it's a bummer they were on the same day, but
I know.
Caroline was so great.
Bad timing. Literally was like the only evening that I was like available whenever, but between Rattlestick's schedule, it was like the only evening that Rattlestick had available. And then between the schedule of like my director and my lead actor, who both like were traveling out of the country a lot this summer and like doing work, we just like that was like the only date we could do it. So
What are the next steps for your play?
So, okay, so the general consul general, always fuck that up. The consul general of Slovakia came, and I was like super nervous that he was gonna hate it because it's a comedy, and I didn't know. Like, I'm always worried. I know I'm always gonna piss somebody off because people think like you shouldn't write comedy about certain issues, and usually I just don't care. But I cared more. I was like, I don't want to offend the entire country of Slovakia. You know, that would be bad. And I don't want to be like exiled and never allowed back in the country. And like, you know, so I was really worried he wouldn't like it. But fortunately, he loved it. He was like taking pictures the entire time, apparently. And so he like posted all about it. He came up to me afterwards and he posted like on his personal and the Consul General social media, like Facebook, Instagram. And so there were some one person who responded on Facebook, like she asked if she could read it, and she won, and she's a producer, and she won an Academy Award for Best Foreign Film for a Czech film in the 90s. It's apparently like a big film that I should watch. And she lives in London and like produces stuff on the West End and on her TV and film. So I sent the play to her. So it's going to Prague in January. I also just found out that there's a theater in Connecticut that is interested in doing a workshop of it in like the fall. It's not, I literally found out like 3 days ago. It's not 100% yet. They have to, the person who's like trying to bring it there needs to convince the board, like that's how it always is with the smaller theaters. The board has a lot of power over artistic programming. So I'm trying like not to get too excited about that, but it could be very, very cool. So hopefully I'll be spending a week in Connecticut, which I never would have thought I would say. Of all places. But you know, people in Connecticut have a lot of money. Woo! So
cheers to that.
Cheers to that. Cheers to people with money.
Yes.
Give it to us.
You were like so diligent with your rewrites.
With our what?
With your rewrites. I was so amazed.
Oh my God.
Like, how do you, I don't know, self-motivate?
I just make it like a habit, kind of like working out, like anything. Like, I don't know, I'm a very self-regimented person. During the like rehearsal process, I was doing a lot of edits. So I was up until 4 a.m. one night, and it was just like so exhausting. My mom basically, like, she was in town to see the reading and to help me move, and she basically packed up my apartment for me because I like didn't have time. And while I was working around, like doing rattlestick stuff, she would just be like in the background packing boxes for me. Like, I'm glad you were actually out of town and did not have to help me move, because I feel like that would have been, because I was like, I don't have enough guy friends who I can ask to do this. Even though I was like offering to pay people, I was like, I don't know many men.
As it should be.
Yeah.
You should have like gone on Tinder or something.
I mean, I thought about posting about it on Instagram, but then I was like, oh, I might just get like random weirdos who like have a crush on me, and then I don't want them going through my stuff and hanging out with me and my mom for 8 hours. So I'd rather just like hire a stranger. Like, I don't know. It's like I either want someone I know really, really well or someone I don't know at all.
That's so fucking true. Moving is so intimate. I remember whenever like my mom had to move me, like help me like move like my college dorms and stuff, I would be sweating for a week. Like, how do I hide my wine glasses, my shot glasses, my fucking lingerie that I got in high school when I thought like, oh, like if you're going to like have sex, obviously you need lingerie. Like, you know, it's like a crucial ingredient. I was like,
Okay.
don't look in there.
Okay, so like years and years and years ago, like, okay, I had an embarrassing experience with my mom finding embarrassing things one time. So then the next time I moved, I was like, okay, that's not gonna happen again. I'm gonna make a list because I love lists. I'm gonna make a list of all the things I have to hide. And I made the list and then I hid all the things, but I did not hide the list. And so there was like this list that's like on my table of like, yep, all the things.
What did you say that it was?
No, but we didn't. My mom pretended like she didn't see it. I grabbed it and threw it away, and we just like pretended like it never happened, but it definitely happened, and she definitely saw it. And you know, presumably she has the same things, but it's just like, I mean, I was like 23, like it was just like really embarrassing. It's like weirder to have a list of those things. Like, why would you have a list?
It's so much weirder than just having the things.
I made it so much worse.
Oh my god, that is such the Capricorn in you. Like, let me make a list of all my like little nefarious secret objects. Okay. Yeah. My mom is like incredibly prude. So I have like the same thing, like she cannot know anything.
My mom literally would not care. It would just be embarrassing for me. But your mom would be like, she would be bad.
Yeah, she's like she just because of the way she grew up, like surrounded by a lot of things, like, you know, just like a lot. And she was like, I'm gonna put those things, I'm gonna be as far away from all of that as possible. And I'm gonna keep my head down and go to college. Now when she sees any of those things, she's like, oh, like that is like the anti-me, like, you know, and she's very like moralistic, like, you know, she's like those things are life ruiners, you know, anything basically, anything fun, anything related to like partying, like sex, you know, whatever, big no. So I think she would be better now. She doesn't swear, like she doesn't even, she's not even religious. She just like doesn't swear, and it's very, very like, it's very weird to be around because if you slip up in like the tiniest way, it wounds her, and she tries not to show it, but you know in her mind, she's like, I raised you differently. Like, I said down, I'm sorry, I said it. It's in the fucking Bible, like, we can look it up right now. But yeah, so.
And it's her birthday tomorrow.
Oh yeah, it is! So she's, yeah. But she's an angel. I remember too, when she found out, my sister bought a pregnancy test for one of, like, just a girl on her soccer team or something. But for some reason, I know, she was just like the only one with a car. And these girls were younger, so she was like, okay, whatever. But I guess because she bought it with our card, for some reason, like a bill for like the pregnancy test or something came in the mail.
They like showed up, exactly.
I did not know that could happen, but my mom saw that a pregnancy test was purchased. And this was a few years ago, so I was dating Milo. And she like, she was visiting New York, and we were in her hotel room, and she was like, hey, like, I want to talk to you about something. And I was like, oh my God, what? And she was like, I saw that somebody purchased a pregnancy test. And I was like, I literally have been on birth control since I was old enough to go to Planned Parenthood and get myself birth control. I'm pretty sure I did not buy that pregnancy test. I didn't say that though. I was like, girl, I got the fucking next one on, like, I'm good. But she was like, oh, I saw that. And I was like, did I? And I just like was awash with like shame. And I just collapsed. I truly like collapsed in heaving like sobs. And she was like, what's wrong? Like, it's okay. I wanted you to know that like if that ever happened, like you could come to me. And I didn't know why I was crying so hard because she was being really cool about it. But then later I was like, you can't be so fucking rude and be so moralistic about sex. Like, my whole life and then be like, what? It's fine for me to know that you have sex. Like, no, it's not. Like, I died inside. It was really, I was like shaking. And I was like, where is this coming from? Like, she's being really cool in this moment. But it was like, you know, if like literally people were kissing on TV, she would be like, nobody look, like,
Kissing?
yeah. It was like, and I grew up with that. I was like, I remember watching a movie with friends and people started kissing and I was like, can't do that. Like, that's not a normal thing to do. You watch the kissing like a normal person. Yeah. Very weird. But happy birthday, Mom.
Happy birthday, Mom.
Shout out.
Anyway, I think we should get another drink. I think I'm gonna get the same thing.
This was really, really good.
Yeah. Okay.
Damn, I'm gonna ask for straws again.
Are we staying here?
I want a straw.
Oh, right.
Oh wait,
You're like,
I don't know if I'm allowed to
I
take
think you
that.
could. Well, I don't know.
I feel like I'm
I
gonna
once
touch
actually
one.
got yelled at for grabbing something, like a napkin or something.
You know what I hate, but I always have a compulsion to do it? You know how like people always like call the pandemic, like they'll be like, in a panoramic, like, you know, they always like bastardize, you know, they'll say like, in a Pangea, like they'll just, and it's like so funny. It annoys me so much. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Hi, can I get a straw, please?
I'm sorry?
A straw?
Yeah.
I'm like, shut the fuck up with your stupid, thank you, Twitter humor. But then it gets stuck in my head. And I have like a compulsion to say these like very Twitter things.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, so for writing, do you have like any upcoming, like, are you just focused on show trial for now, or do you have ideas for anything new?
Oh no, I'm writing a musical.
What?
I had to take like 2 months off from it.
Wait, are you writing like the book and lyrics, or just
No,
the book?
so I've written other musicals. Did I not tell you?
No.
Actually, I went Rattlestick to do another, like, okay, so for our next staff retreat on July 12th,
I don't remember. Oh yeah.
we should do another, like, share thing, because I really wanted to share stuff from my last musical the last time, but I didn't, anyway, so I've written 2 already. I only write the book. So I work with composers and lyricists. I actually have a meeting for one tomorrow. So I've written 2. The first one I wrote, he's like my work husband. And he's just amazing. He taught me I like knew nothing about musicals. And he taught me like everything about them. And I like used to not really like musicals very much, because the books are usually really bad. Like,
The books are always
usually
bad.
awful.
And the acting, musical, I learned this really recently. Jordan taught me about it. Acting, what's the word? It's called, not signaling, but there's like a word for this type of, it starts with an I. Indicating.
What is it?
Indicating. And it's very common in musicals where like you take like a line like, oh, I can't believe like you missed my birthday party. And like a musical theater actor or just like a bad actor will read the line like I can't believe you missed my birthday party. Like, and they'll indicate with their voice like how the line is supposed to go. Whereas like a more naturalistic actor will recognize like that the line says everything it needs to say, so you can do something kind of unexpected. You can be like, I can't believe you missed my birthday party. Like, you know, you can kind of, I don't know, play around with it. And I was like, I think that is like half the reason why I hate musicals is because there's the line, and the line is rarely layered, and then the actor also has not been trained to add any layers. So it's just, the book is always so one note.
Well, the book is always secondary to the score. And like, I also think especially when someone's writing all 3, it usually doesn't work out well. I will say now, since learning about musicals, I now love them, but like plays, like straight plays, most are bad. You know, like most are bad, but then there are the really good ones that have a really strong book, and like the good actors who can do, like actually act and sing, like, you know. And I don't like the kind of typical like schmaltzy, you know, hammy musical.
I'll say it like to the day I die.
What?
I love Wicked.
Okay, you're gonna hate me. I saw it in grad school, but I left at intermission. But I know I was having like a personal crisis, and it was so fucking long, and I just like couldn't. I just like had to go. I got free tickets to it, and I just like I had to leave. So I actually never saw the second half.
Okay, so you know how I took a road trip to Cape Cod with my best friend?
Yes.
We're both like obsessed with Wicked, and so we listened to like the whole soundtrack on the car ride there, and then we just like got into this conversation about it, and it's like so much of it is about like you know, what is like the performance of goodness and actual goodness, and just like the pursuit of goodness, and you know, things like that, and it applies so deeply to just like the privilege of like the privilege of like being assigned like morality. Like Glinda from the beginning does jack shit, but everybody's like, you rock, you can lead us. Alphaba from the beginning, everybody fucking hates. And like the more she tries to pursue goodness, the more her intentions are like twisted by the public. And so it's like one is set up to be good and one is set up to be evil, and it couldn't have been any other way, because by the time they were born, like society had already decided purely based on like what they looked like and their social statuses, like their fate. And it was like also like, you know, when you have no marginalization, like you can philosophize and like pursue ethics and like, you know, goodness, and like when you're constantly battling marginalization, not only do you not have the time to like think about those things and pursue those things and like, you know, help people in like a very like spotlighty way, but you also just like are not being primed to believe that like humanity is good. You don't have the same, you know, relationship with like, oh, like the world is a good place that I should participate in like, you know, this very like beautiful, wholesome way. It's like, no, the world is a bad place that's out to get me, and I have to fight for what I want. And it's like incredibly political, and also like the wizard has this whole song that is truly about white privilege. He sings that song that's like, oh, like wonderful. Like he was like, oh, I was just like this small town hick, and then, you know, but then I came over here and people were like, wonderful, like you're so wonderful, and he was like, damn, okay, like then wonderful I will be, like, and it's like he's just this white man who's been uplifted, has no powers whatsoever, but everybody's willing to believe it. And he's like, tells them like, if you like support me and follow me, like I will uplift you. They have to be attached to him, and then their morals have to be challenged by like, you know, do I challenge this man and then end up, you know, getting nothing and not being elevated, or do I compromise my morals and stick with him and allow him to elevate me in this super shallow way where I have no actual power, but I have a little bit, but it's not real. So it was like it was so good. But anyways, so musicals. I'm just like,
well, now we need to see it together. I don't want to see it with anyone but you.
It is so, so good.
No, I mean, it's been like 10 years, it was like 10 years ago. So I need a new experience of it that's not me fighting with my boyfriend. Which is why I left at intermission. All right, I'm ready for another drink. Are you?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna get wine this time.
You're gonna get wine?
Yeah.
Why is my intern emailing me at like 11 o'clock at night?
Okay, I will say this. Gen Z does not know like what's an appropriate time to send an email.
Okay, well, I have a thing that, okay, I told her, thank you. I will have another glass of the orange wine.
Okay.
Hi. Can I have the Chenin Blanc, and can we have some more water, please?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Also, we need to take a picture at some point. Can we do that?
Okay, yeah.
Wait, tell me about Gen Z. No, I'm not trying to shit on you guys. I'm actually just wish I just want my intern to like be drunk right now like us. I don't want her to be. doing work.
I'm not gonna shit on that.
It's her fault because I told her. I mean, not her. Sorry. Wow. It's my fault because I told her that I had a meeting tomorrow. I know. I told her I had a meeting tomorrow. I have a meeting with the director, and so I was like, "Let me know if you have a problem with this before my meeting." And so I think that's why she was like, "Let me see if I can do this because I know Laura's gonna be unavailable."
I just think in general, Gen Z does not do super well with scheduled because like their own time is so unstructured because you have like your work life, you have your social life, and then you have your online life. And your online life is happening not in its own separate segment, but like constantly in between the two. Like it's just happening all the time. I don't know. So I feel like, I feel like the way that people view like their online life is the same way they start to view like their social and their work lives, where it's like a little bit of work, a little bit of like me time and socialization, social media, work, and then at the end of the day, you're like, I've been on social media. Now I'll send this email for work. Like all your whole day just bleeds into each other.
That's like, I think it's bad, and I also think it's just something that you have to learn. I procrastinated a lot in college, and I think it's something you just learn when you get older. I love my intern. She's amazing. I love her. She's so enthusiastic about theater, and I'm so worried for her because I feel like she hasn't been disillusioned yet, but it will happen. Like, she's so sweet. And she loves theater so much, and it's like she's gonna learn how fucking terrible it is. But, so, anyway, random email. I should just set like an alarm. I don't know if this is possible. There should be like an app where you can just set after a certain time your work email just like is automatically off on your phone rather than having to manually do it every day, you know? Because it can be stressful when you're like out having a time and then you get like a really stressful email about your boss about a deadline, fundraising deadline you didn't know about.
That is so true. That is such a fucking good idea. I don't know if I told you this, but like the guy that I was talking about that like fell in love with Jordan, the 76-year-old, he's like an inventor. And so like,
what has he invented?
He's not an inventor. Like he just, okay, he calls himself an entrepreneur. Me and Milo have
That
this
doesn't mean he's a trust fund. Like,
I don't fucking know. Me and Milo have this bit, like, we'll just, anytime we do something, like, slightly against the grain.
wait,
like,
has he met Milo?
No, none of them know I have a boyfriend.
Okay.
It's like all of them, yeah. But, like, Milo and I will do this bit, like, if everybody's going up one staircase, like, we'll go up the other staircase and we'll be like, we're entrepreneurs. Like,
I feel like entrepreneur is the rich male equivalent to like realtor for rich women.
Yes!
Where they like have to do something.
yeah, exactly. No, that's exactly what it is.
Anyway, if you need a friend to go on that cruise with you, I would totally go just for like the curiosity of the experience. I would be like, just curious.
Would you actually?
I actually would.
He is so annoying. I have to tell you.
I would maybe say something inappropriate if he's a dick. I'll try not to. Like, if I will call him out if he says
You
something.
should, honestly. He's like.
But I would totally go with you.
He's like 76, I don't know, something like that. When he called me on Friday, and I was like, hey, what's up? And he was like, hey, like, you're gonna be really offended by this. He was like, hey, I hope you're having a better day than I am. And I was like, oh no, what happened?
Wait, what?
I was like, oh no, what happened? And he was like, Roe v. Wade was overturned. And I said to him, I was like,
Wow.
I was like, I think that is objectively worse news for me. I have a uterus. I'm 24. I have a lot of potential pregnancy years ahead of me. I think it is objectively worse for me. And he was like, well, I know a lot of people close to the issue. And I was like, that's not the same thing. And then he changed the
I know a lot of
topic.
women. I know a lot of people with uteruses.
I was so...
Wow. Oh my god, no, I would totally go with you. It would be like if you were like looking for somebody.
I mean, somebody has to take Jordan's spot, but he has another girl that I think he wants to invite. I want to invite a friend, but because him and Jordan got in a fight, I feel like he's not going to be receptive if I invite a friend. Like he's gonna think that, yeah. Which, like, honestly, anybody I invite is gonna get in a fight with him because he's just fightable. Oh my god, he is. He's just a huge dumbass. He's really fucking dumb. It's painful. Oh my god. Oh my god. So my best friend met him one time, and she's like an aspiring TV writer, and she's really, really good. I read her pilot, and I was like, this is the best thing I've ever seen in my life. But like, when he met her, he was like, so Katie, like, what's your thing? What's the dream? And she was like, well, I want to be like a TV writer. And he was like, so what are you doing to actualize that dream? And she was like, I've like written a pilot and I'm like sending it to competitions, like I don't know. And he was like, so what makes your work as a TV writer stand out? Like, why should I be interested in you as a TV writer? And she was like, I guess like TV is in a moment where it's less dependent on the like commercial break structure, and like it's almost more resembling like movies in a sense. And he was like, let me stop you right there. How long is a commercial break? And she was like 30 seconds to 2 minutes, like usually a minute and a half. And he was like, what if your TV show took place within the commercial breaks? And we were like, what?
First of all, that shit's been done. That's not an original idea.
He was like, we were like, we could not describe all the ways that it wouldn't work. Like, we just froze. And he was like, that's just how this brain works. Like, everybody's always like...
I hate when, like, people who aren't in the arts have feedback about your work. So, like, yeah, after my reading, there were a couple, and it's like, no, I don't actually want to hear your opinion. You literally know nothing. Your opinion doesn't matter. I don't come to your job and tell you how to do it.
Okay, it's just like, I'm sorry. Why in the era of streaming? Okay, so if you're watching TV on cable and there are commercial breaks, why? You would have to pay the price of a commercial to put your TV show in the commercial breaks. And it would be confusing and weird to watch. If you're not doing that, then where does your TV show go? Something that is...
There are like a few examples of things that do something similar, but they're
Like on
longer.
Disney.
You can't do it for 30 seconds or 2 minutes. It's a little bit longer, but it doesn't really. They're kind of old. It's not going to work in today's TV world because people don't like commercials anymore. People have a lower attention span.
That's
It's
just
stupid. It's
like
stupid.
how if you meet him, that's how he's gonna talk to you. He's gonna interrupt you
I mean,
and be
I
like,
will
"What if you
say-
did this dumbass idea?"
I will say, like, I'm used to that in my work.
I'm sure you are.
So I could handle him if ever given the opportunity.
I would like to see you two talk.
I would actually. I know how to. I mean, especially because I would treat him like a donor because he's a donor to you. So I would be less combative.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I will be more combative with a random guy in a bar or a guy I'm on a date with, as opposed to someone who's like, hey, you know. It's the same thing with when I go out to drinks or dinner with donors and they complain about the fact that their children are being taught about trans rights. And I'm like, it is not my job to educate you on this. So I'm not going to because that's your children's job, and I also could get in trouble. Like that's not my job. I will work on my family and that's at least an issue I don't have to worry about with my family, but there are plenty of issues I do have to educate my family on. But that's something that comes up a lot in my conversations with donors. Anyway, my point is I have to deal with a lot of similarly awkward and inappropriate conversations. And I am not combative when I am representing Rattlestick because I can't be, as opposed to if it's someone randomly at a bar or online, and in which I am extremely combative. I'm curious. I'm so curious about this.
You should meet him. He's
Fucking bro guy, dude. Inventor, entrepreneur.
I know. And he's I forgot to tell you, he's also a realtor.
A realtor?
I think he is.
Of course he is.
Because, yeah, he just
Of course he is.
And so that's the thing too, is some of these guys, it's they think that they're like, I could give you $100 or I could give you the knowledge to make $1,000. And you're like, I'll take the $100.
Why not get both?
Yeah. I'll listen to your spiel.
You know how investment works? Give both.
Precisely. Why don't you give me $100 and give me the knowledge to turn it into $1,000?
Or give you $1,000 and give you the knowledge because $1,000 is a better investment than $100.
Precisely. If the knowledge is good, then $1,000, that's gonna fucking grow. So put your money where your mouth is.
Oh my god, I so want to meet. I'm sure I'm less combative than Jordan.
Jordan's very
combative.
She was literally fuck you. Because honestly, he sucks.
No, it sounds, it would be, because he was supposed to pay her, and it sounds like he really fucked her over.
He did fuck her
I
over.
would not expect payment at all. You would get paid, and I would just take experience from a person who'll probably write about it later.
Okay, it's on July 6th. Should I ask if I can bring a friend?
Hold on.
See if you're free.
I'm going to the Hamptons. No, I think I'm free that night. Hold on. I'm literally free. I'm going to the Hamptons the 8th. July 6th.
Okay.
I am free.
He might have already invited his photographer friends.
The more the merrier.
Okay, so we'll see. I'm gonna ask him.
Oh my god.
I've been kind of mean to him lately, so I have to be
I'll be
hey,
I can be nice.
Okay. He'll like you much better. The thing is that he has a redhead fetish, and that was
Caroline is the one who should really go. But you don't want to lose a client. So maybe I'm the safe bet because he's not gonna fall in love with me.
Exactly.
He's not gonna fall in love with me.
I'm not
That's the safe
gonna let
bet.
this happen again. No, I'm not making the same mistake twice.
It's like when you're friends with have you had friends who are their boyfriend wanted threesome and it's they don't want to bring the person that the guys really want. It's anyway.
Yeah, no. Also the politics too of sugar babying and race is something that really should be studied. It is because
I'm sure it has been in performance studies.
I mean,
Really.
so much of it is performance. But yeah, it's very interesting.
I can imagine. I feel sometimes my day job is in the same realm.
It is. The professional version.
If you're anytime you're a woman in need of opportunities in fundraising, anyway,
I mean, I'll say it, I'm a glass or two in. Development, I'm a glass or two in.
Yes, do it.
Development is for white women. because the people with the money are the white men. The blonde women, I think, like, just based on sugar dating. Okay.
I agree. I will say my only friend who's in development is not a white woman. And I've been talking to him a lot about the experience. It's been fascinating because I feel we have very, like, he has other issues of him of being tokenized, and I have issues of feeling unsafe. And he, you know, he's treated like he's invited to things, you know, to be like, oh, look at her, you know, and so, like, it's just, it's nice to have a friend in development who has been through it, who knows what it's like. But I don't 100% agree with you. It is literally for people who look like me and who are like me and who blend in with the rich crowd. But it's also weird because you do feel like kind of a prostitute some of the time. Or, you know, it's like it is what it is. I mean, people want to, you know, people want to invite you to things and have you be their date to things, and it will influence how much they might spend. Didn't expect that, and that's how I felt, but that's no different than how I felt in real life. I don't know, it's, you know, I guess it's like you do what you're good at. Yeah, I was really stupid. I had no idea what it was going to be. And I was like, I had no experience, and everyone was like, you're going to be so good at this. But I didn't understand why they said that. It was really dumb. And then I was like, yeah, I am really good at this. Because everybody wants a fucking escort to a party. Everybody, you know what I mean? Like, but that's why they don't have to pay, you know. I'm very aware of that, and the only people who want to hang out with me, I send so many emails, I'm like, let's take coffee, let's hang out, are the men. And it's, you know, so being aware of that and feeling and knowing that that's your, that's how you're presenting yourself, and that you're trying, you know, in your day job, and that's how what's coming across, and that's how you're being treated.
It's also just like, you know, what other jobs or like who else in your position has to so intentionally and so carefully blur the lines between like professionalism and like friendliness and like personableness, like, you know, like it's truly such a delicate balancing act for you, you know. It's a weird position to be in. And also just like, you know, to be doing this, like, and to be putting up with certain behaviors on the behalf of an institution rather like on your own terms must be odd.
Yeah, no, it's interesting that, like, I don't remember ever seeing an article about being a woman in development ever, and how that feels kind of like prostitution a lot of the time. Like, it's just not talked about, you know. Yeah. So anyway, I'm really good with rich men.
Okay. I will take you, if it's not the cruise, I'll take you to meet him, just because honestly,
So
like,
curious.
it's just like an interesting, like, to meet these guys in person.
I'm curious. I do actually I would like to meet Milo at some point. Like,
Milo's coming to the city. I'm
When is he
so
coming?
happy. So he's coming on July 8th. So I'm really excited to see him. It's really hard, like the long distance, like for such a long-term relationship. I mean, we're getting into a groove with it, really, like, and I feel so, you know, he makes me feel like really confident. Like he's just always like worshiping me. He's always, I told you, like he loves this filthy. Like he knows everybody. Like, he knows all the names of everybody in the office. And like, I could go to him and I could be like, you know, oh, like this happened at work today. And he would be like, oh, didn't this happen at work last week? Like, oh, that reminds me of this. Like he just is such a good listener. Loves to talk about my life. Like, and I love to talk about his life too. Like, he just is like, it's like he is such just like a fucking bestie. Like, and he's just like so, I've literally never met a man like him. So I'm just obsessed with him. Like, and he's always been like that. So yeah, he's really smart. You're gonna love him. If he opens up, we'll need to get some drinks on him.
A lot of drinks.
Yeah. Okay, these are
Wait, I
good.
hate them.
Okay, also you literally can't tell what we're doing right now. We're literally just in a bar, like fucking normies.